When the breakfast rush began to wind down, the diner started to quiet. People were finishing their pancakes and sipping their last cups of coffee. Some stood up to leave. The big morning crowd was shrinking. But Keanu didn't leave. He sat in his booth, quiet and still, sipping his black coffee, eyes watching everything. He wasn't there for the food. He came to see what was really happening at Maple Diner 47. And now, he was starting to understand. He watched Nina, the kind waitress who had brought him his food. She was still moving from table to table, smiling kindly, even though she looked tired. She filled coffee cups without spilling a drop. She carried plates like a pro, one on her arm, two in her hands, all perfectly balanced. But she looked so tired, like someone who worked too hard and got very little rest. The other two waiters, Eli and Jordan, were not like her. They laughed together near the coffee station. They leaned on the counters. Sometimes they took a table. But they didn't rush. They didn't help Nina. They just looked busy when someone important walked by. Keanu noticed something strange. Every time someone finished their food in Nina's area, and it was time to pay, one of the boys would rush in to take the payment. They didn't serve the food. They didn't take the orders. But they made sure to take the tips. That happened not once. Not twice. Kept happening over and over. Nina did all the work. But the boys took the reward. Keanu didn't like this. Not one bit. When Nina walked past again, Keanu said, "Excuse me, miss." She turned with a smile. "Yes, sir." Keanu smiled back. "That was the best breakfast I've had in weeks." "Thank you," she said. "But I noticed something," he added, lowering his voice. "You didn't take my payment. That young man did." Nina blinked. She looked surprised. Then her smile faded just a little. "Yeah," she said softly. "Eli sometimes takes the card machine when it's busy." Her voice got quiet. She looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then she leaned in just a little and said, "Only certain people are allowed to use the card machine. That's what the manager says. It's a company rule." Keanu frowned. "So when someone tips using the card, the tip goes to the person who uses the machine?" She gave a tiny nod. "Yes. And what if you aren't allowed to use it?" She nodded again. "Then you don't get the tip. It looks like you didn't do anything." Keanu's face grew serious. "That doesn't sound fair." "It isn't," she said quietly. "They say the cash tips will be split later, but they almost never are. Sometimes they just disappear." "Who's in charge of all this?" Keanu asked gently, even though he already knew. "Victor," she answered. "The manager." Nina sighed and stood straight again. "He says the system is fair, but it always works out better for the same people. You can figure it out." She didn't sound angry. She just sounded tired, like someone who had explained this too many times, and nothing ever changed. Then she turned and went back to work. More tables to serve. More drinks to pour. No time to rest. Keanu sat still. He didn't pick up his fork. His pancakes were cold now, but he didn't care. He had seen enough. He looked around the diner with sharper eyes. This place had the same look as every other Maple diner. The red booths. The warm lights. The menu is full of pancakes and bacon and biscuits. But this one felt different. Not because of how it looked. Because of how it worked. He could see it now, a puzzle with missing pieces finally coming together. Nina was the hardest worker. She cared. She tried. She smiled because it was real, not because someone told her to. But she was being treated unfairly. The others, Eli, Jordan, did less work but got more tips. And Victor, the manager, let it happen. No. Victor made it happen. By deciding who could use the card machine. By choosing who got what section. By pretending everything was okay when it wasn't. That wasn't a mistake. That was a plan. Keanu leaned back in his seat and watched more carefully. He saw the signs clearer now. Jess, the hostess, didn't greet guests kindly. She didn't wear the maple pin on her shirt, even though every worker was supposed to. She seated a big family in Nina's area, even though there were empty tables in Jordan's section. That wasn't just random. That was on purpose. Keanu's mind started to work fast, like a puzzle solver clicking pieces into place. He remembered the reports he'd read back at the office. This diner was making money. Guests said the food was good. The place looked clean. But the workers... something was wrong there. Too many people quit. Too many sick days. Too many small signs that something wasn't right. Now he knew why. This wasn't a team. It was a game. And the rules weren't fair. Nina didn't tell him all that just to complain. She told him because she hoped someone would care. Because she was tired of being treated badly. And she couldn't walk away. Not yet. Maybe she had bills to pay. Maybe she had a family. Keanu felt something twist in his chest. He couldn't walk away either. He wasn't just a customer. He was the owner. The big boss of every Maple diner. No one in the diner knew that. Not Jess. Not Eli. Not even Victor, the manager. But soon they would. Keanu finished his coffee and stood up. He left a big cash tip on the table, right where Nina would find it. Then he walked to the front door, slow and calm. The rain had stopped outside, but a storm was still coming. Only this one wouldn't be from the sky. It would come from him. The next morning, Keanu came back. But he didn't come in quietly this time. He walked through the door in a neat suit, clean-shaven, standing tall. The same Jess was at the front, still looking at her phone. She looked up and blinked. "Table for one?" "No," Keanu said, his voice firm but kind. "I'm here to speak with Victor Lang." Jess started. Okay. Let me go get him." A few minutes later, Victor came out. He was surprised. He didn't recognize Keanu from the day before. "Can I help you?" Victor asked. Keanu smiled. "Yes, you can. I'm Keanu Reeves, CEO of Morning Maple Hospitality. I own this diner, and 116 more like it." Victor's face turned pale. "You what?" "I visited yesterday," Keanu said. "Undercover." "You why?" Victor stammered. "To see what you wouldn't show me on a slideshow," Keanu said. "To see the truth." Victor looked nervous now. "Look, if there's been a misunderstanding." Keanu held up a hand. "No misunderstanding. I saw everything I needed to see. How you give card machines only to your favorites. How the hardest worker gets treated the worst. How do you pretend that's fair?" "You're done here, Victor," Keanu said. "Effective immediately." Victor stood still, mouth open. Then Keanu turned and saw Nina. She was standing by the coffee station, holding a pot of coffee, frozen in surprise. He walked over slowly. "Good morning, Nina," he said gently. She blinked. "Hi." "I wanted to thank you," he said. "You showed me what was really going on. And you were brave." I didn't know who you were." "I know," Keanu smiled. "But you told the truth anyway." Nina nodded slowly. "So, what happens now?" Keanu looked around. "This place is going to change," he said. "Starting today. We're putting in new systems. Everyone gets equal access to the machines. Tips will be tracked fairly. And no more playing favorites." Nina's eyes widened. "Really?" Keanu nodded. "Really? And one more thing." "Yes. I'd like to offer you the manager's position." Nina gasped. "Me? But I'm just..." "You're not just anything," Keanu said. "You're the reason this place has stayed standing." She covered her mouth with her hand, tears in her eyes. Keanu smiled kindly. "What do you say?" She took a deep breath. Then she nodded. "Yes, I'll do it." Keanu nodded. "Good. Let's build something better, together." And just like that, Maple Diner 47 got a brand new start. The rain outside was gone. The storm inside had passed. And the sun finally came out. Nina came back to fill Keanu's coffee. Her hands didn't shake, but her voice was a little softer now. "Do you need anything else before I bring your bill?" she asked. "Just a minute of your time," Keanu said kindly. "If you're not too busy." Nina looked unsure for a moment. "We're not really supposed to talk at tables unless it's about food," she said carefully. Keanu gave her a warm smile. I'm just asking about the town. My daughter might move here for a new job. I thought I'd ask someone who knows the place. That was a little lie, but it sounded kind and real. Nina's shoulders relaxed a little. I'll bring your check, she said. Then she tucked an empty order pad into her apron and came back. Keanu saw what she was doing, pretending to still be working so she could talk to him. Keanu left a $20 tip right on the table where anyone could see it, and another $20 folded and hidden under the coffee cup, just for Nina. As she came to clean up the table, their eyes met. Your daughter's lucky, Nina said. This town is okay. Just tell her to pick the right place to work. There was something sad in her voice. Something hidden. Keanu noticed it. It felt deep, like something heavy she carried inside. Have you worked here long? He asked. 3 years, Nina said proudly. Started part-time during college. Still here. Then, like she just remembered, she added, I'm finishing my accounting degree this semester. If I can afford to. Tips not enough? Keanu asked. She didn't smile this time. Not when half of them disappear. That was it. Just a small opening, but it was enough. She looked like she was writing something, but she spoke very softly, so only Keanu could hear. Victor made a new type of worker group in the system last year, she said. He calls it auxiliary servers. It's not in the handbook. We can't get digital tips under that name. Only Eli, Jordan, and 2 others can access them. The rest of us. She stopped. She didn't have to finish. Keanu understood. And the money? He asked. Nina gave a tiny shrug. Victor says it balances out in cash. But it never does. I've been keeping track. I know how much I've lost just this month. How much? She looked unsure. $600. Maybe more. She was going to say more when the kitchen door opened. Victor stepped out. He looked around the room with sharp eyes. Nina stood up straight quickly. I should go, she said. Keanu nodded. Hope your next shift is easier. I doubt it, she said quietly. But thanks for the pancakes. As she walked away, Keanu looked down at his coffee cup. The hidden $20 was still under it. One small action. One small clue. But his mind was already working fast. Now he knew what to look for. And where. They had no idea someone important was watching. But they were about to find out. Keanu walked out into the cold parking lot. The rain had stopped, but something inside him felt even colder. He sat in his truck, wiped the fog from the window, and let his thoughts race. Nina's quiet story wasn't just a red flag. It was like a big bright flare, a signal that something was very wrong. He came here to look at some small problems, maybe some training issues. But what he found was something much worse, a sneaky way to steal from workers, hidden behind fake rules. Back at the Little Inn where he was staying, under a fake name, he opened his special laptop. He logged into the Morning Maple restaurant computer system. He was the CEO, but he usually didn't use this part himself. Today was different. He didn't want any reports made to look good for bosses. He didn't want summaries or meetings. He wanted the real stuff, every click, every tip, every record. At first, the system looked clean. But then he found something. A special tag called AXRC. It didn't show up in the usual training or worker files. But 8 workers at Diner 47 had this tag. Nina was one of them. He checked the records for that morning. He saw that Eli Mercer had processed almost every digital payment, even the ones from tables that weren't his. The tips, some really big, were all under Eli's name. None were connected to the people like Nina. She had told the truth. Even worse, the tip stealing had been going on for 6 months. Hundreds of tips. Thousands of dollars. All taken quietly, by computer. But now Keanu knew where to look. He stared at the screen. Hands still on the keyboard. Jaw tight. This wasn't just unfair. It was stealing. A system made to help some people take from others. And someone helped build it. He picked up the phone. Called a number he didn't use often. Jade, it's Keanu, he said when she answered. I need you and your team here by tomorrow. Quietly. No press. No emails to local managers. Bring Miles and Tessa. We've got a problem at location 47. There was a pause. How bad? Jade asked. It's not just bad, Keanu said. It's personal. And we've got names. The next day, by lunchtime, a small meeting room at the inn had become a mission control center. 3 laptops lit up the room. 3 smart workers, Jade, Miles, and Tessa, were typing fast, checking facts. Jade stood in front, looking at all the proof Keanu had collected. Victor Lang made a secret worker label, she said. He used it to keep people like Nina from getting tips sent by phone. And who gets the money instead? Keanu asked, though he already knew. Miles turned his laptop around. Eli Mercer. He shows up in 65% of credit card payments in the last 90 days. That's huge. It's not just favoritism. He's like the tip gatekeeper. And Victor. Tessa spoke next. He started a company 6 months ago. Lang Service Solutions. It gets money every week, from an account that matches the missing tips. She pointed to a chart. We think over $17,000 in stolen tips since July. Maybe more. Some cash is hard to trace. Keanu breathed out slowly. This is a scam. And Victor is running it like a business. We could fire them now, Jade said. We've got the proof. No, Keanu said. If we do this quietly, nothing will change. People like Nina won't know the truth. Other workers won't feel heard. We're not just firing people. We're making a stand. So what do you want to do? Miles asked. Keanu paced the room. He wasn't thinking like a boss now. He was thinking like a man who once washed dishes just like Nina. We hit them during breakfast rush, he said. In front of everyone. I'll be there. No fake names. No hiding. I want the staff to know someone is on their side. Jade raised an eyebrow. That's bold. It's time, Keanu said. And I want this perfect. Can we trace a live tip tomorrow morning? Miles nodded. Easy. We use one of our company cards. Buy food, leave a digital tip, and follow where it goes. Do it, Keanu said. I'll go back to the diner, acting like a dad checking out the place for his daughter. When Eli steals the tip, we'll catch it right away. Tessa looked up. You think he'll fall for it? Keanu smiled just a little. He won't even know it's a trap. Outside, gray clouds rolled over the hills. Inside, the team got to work, printing files, checking emails, syncing computers. But Keanu stood by the window, watching ducks swim across the pond. He thought of Nina. Her tired shoes. Her quiet sadness. Her hope, hidden under fear. She had no idea who she talked to. No idea what she had started. But by tomorrow, she will. And so would everyone else. Inside the room, no one stopped moving. Keanu's team worked fast, calmly. Each person focused, building a case that couldn't be ignored or explained away. If everything went right, they would catch Eli stealing a tip in real time. Victor wouldn't be able to pretend he didn't know. But what made Keanu angrier wasn't just the stealing. It was how carefully planned it all was. This wasn't a mistake. This was a plan. Jade sat on the floor near the whiteboard, drawing arrows to show how Victor's system worked. This secret label, auxiliary server, only goes to workers not in Victor's inner group, she said. It hides them from the tip system. Miles pointed to his screen. And look at this. In the last 3 months, digital tips added up to $19,300. But only $10,900 got to the workers. The rest? Keanu asked. Gone. The same amount shows up in Victor's company account. Same pattern, week after week. Looks clean, but it's not. Keanu crossed his arms. Jaw tight. How many complaints did we get about this diner? 3, Tessa answered. All marked as fixed. But everyone was signed off by Assistant Manager M. Mercer, Eli. Victor's nephew, Keanu said. Exactly, she replied. We checked employee files and phone logs. Every complaint was stopped before it reached the main office. And 2 of those workers quit soon after. And the third. Nina. She turned in her notice last month. It never made it to the regional. Keanu stood quietly, back at the window again. He had seen unfair bosses before. Some liked favorites. Others used power to hurt people. But this was worse. This was a machine. A system built to look normal, but designed to steal from the workers. Jade kept going. We called 6 people who used to work there. 5 answered. All 5 said the same thing. If you ask about tips, your schedule gets worse. Either too early or weird hours that make no money. Nina. She's been stuck with night and closing shifts. She's not staying because she loves it. She's staying because she has to. And Victor. He turned the best diner in the area into his personal piggy bank, Tessa said. Eli's schedule is always perfect. He works the best hours for tips. Nina and the others get the rest. She showed a video. This is from a day when tips spiked. Victor stands by the register with a cash box. No sound, but we can tell. He's counting money, giving some out, and waving off questions. Keanu's hands curled into fists. He didn't care about the lost money. Not really. He cared that people like Nina were being hurt, used, and no one had told them the truth. But that was about to change. And it will start tomorrow. During breakfast rush. With one tip. And one very big surprise. One day, Nina pointed at a small box, looking very confused. Victor laughed like it was no big deal. Eli smiled like he knew something funny. Hanu sat down, but his brain was full of thoughts. They're not just stealing, he realized. They're making fun of the people they steal from. Jade looked up and asked, "What are we going to do with all this?" "We're going through with the plan," said Keanu. "Tomorrow morning, I'll come back here. Jade, you'll pretend to be my daughter. Eli will try to trick us, and we'll record everything. After that, we'll tell everyone the truth." "Tell them in public?" asked Tessa, raising one eyebrow. "Yes," Keanu said. "Right in front of everyone. No hiding in back rooms. No secret meetings. We'll tell the truth when the diner is full. The workers and customers need to see what's really going on." Jade leaned back in her chair. "You've never done it this way before." "Maybe I should have," Keanu replied. "There are thousands of people like Nina in this company. They follow the rules, work hard, and still get pushed down. They deserve to know that someone sees them, that someone cares, that someone is ready to fight for them." The room became very quiet. Then Miles nodded. "We'll get the special loyalty card ready tonight. We'll put a $50 tip on it. If Eli takes it, we'll see it happen in real time. And I want a full report ready for the legal team by noon," Keanu said. "As soon as the truth is out, we're firing them. No second chances." Tessa started putting together all the videos. Jade began writing what they would say out loud. Keanu just watched, feeling angry but calm. It wasn't wild anger. It was quiet, serious anger, the kind that comes when you really care. The next morning, everything was ready. Maple Diner 47 was about to change. Not just for Eli and Victor, but for every cook, server, and hostess who had ever wondered if anyone would help them. Nina didn't know yet. She was probably folding menus or getting napkins ready. She had no idea the storm she started was almost there. By the time the sun peeked out over the diner, the trap was already set. Keanu had the special loyalty card with the tip inside his wallet. His team, dressed like normal people, was already sitting inside or waiting close by. Jade, dressed like a nice daughter going out to breakfast, walked beside Keanu as they headed to the front door. But Keanu didn't look like the quiet truck driver named Gabe anymore. He stood taller now, his eyes serious and strong. He was no longer pretending. He was the real boss of Morning Maple. But he had to pretend just a little longer. They walked into the diner just after 8:30 a.m., right in the middle of breakfast time. The bell above the door rang, and the place was full of clinking plates, orders being yelled out, and people eating. A different host walked them to a booth in the corner, the same booth Keanu had used before. He smiled and thanked her. She looked nervous, but she didn't know why yet. Across the room, Nina was working fast. She was taking orders, filling drinks, and saying sorry when people had to wait. She moved quickly, But Keanu saw something else this time. She looked tired. Not just tired from work, but tired deep inside. By the counter, Eli was spinning a pen around his fingers. Victor stood near the kitchen door, watching everything and nothing at the same time. Nina saw them and came over. "Gabe," she asked, surprised. "Couldn't you stay away from the pancakes?" Keanu smiled kindly. "I brought my daughter today. She's thinking about moving here, so I thought I'd show her this place." Nina smiled back, but something in her eyes changed. She looked a little sad. "Glad to see you again," she said quietly, "but I won't be your server today." She looked over at Victor. "We switch customers around," she explained. "Eli will help you today." Keanu said, hiding how upset he felt. "Company rule?" "Something like that," Nina said softly, then held up a coffee pot. "Want a refill while you wait?" As she walked away, Keanu saw Victor whisper something to Eli. Eli looked their way and smiled too much. Jade, holding her phone under the table, gave a tiny nod. Everything was happening exactly as they expected. "Good morning, folks," Eli said with a big fake smile as he walked over. "I'll be taking care of you today. You must have really impressed Nina. She always talks about her favorite customers." His grin looked too friendly. Keanu smiled back and said, "I heard good things about your loyalty card program. I loaded one last night. Thought we'd try it out." "Great idea," Eli said, eyes lighting up. "You'll save money, and it makes paying easier." He wrote down their order and walked off, whistling. "We got him," Jade whispered without moving her lips. "We just need to see where he sends the money." Their food came out quickly, but they didn't care much about eating. They were waiting for the final 5 minutes, when the check would come. When it did, Keanu slid the special card across the table. "Add a $50 tip, please," he said. "The service was great." Eli paused just for a second, then nodded. "Absolutely. We love generous guests around here." He took the card and walked away. Nina walked by again, her hands full of plates, not knowing that something very big was happening just a few steps away. 40 minutes later, back at their hotel, Miles pulled up the diner's computer logs on a big screen. Keanu and the others watched quietly. The tip had been taken. Instead of going to Nina, the $50 was sent to a worker ID, MH294. That was Eli Mercer. Nina's account? Still empty. "Got him," Miles said, highlighting the trail of the tip. He put it under his name, even though he wasn't the real server. "This isn't just wrong, it's stealing." "We already sent everything legal," said Tessa. "Jade's video is clear. The cameras from this morning show the whole thing." Keanu stood up slowly. "Send in the firing papers. Freeze their severance money. Tell security. I want both of them out within the hour." "Do we warn them first?" Jade asked. "No," Keanu said. "We tell them the truth. In front of everyone." At 9:45 a.m., 3 black cars rolled into the Maple Diner parking lot. Inside, customers stopped eating. Victor stood up straighter. Eli stopped talking mid-laugh. From the front car, Keanu stepped out. No fake clothes this time, no hat, no smile. Just the truth. He was followed by people holding tablets and folders. Nina dropped a spoon when she saw him. It hit the floor as she stared in shock. Gabe was gone. Now she saw the man whose name was on the plaque at the front of every morning Maple restaurant. Victor stepped forward, trying to smile. "Mr. Reeves. What a surprise." "You have no idea," Keanu said, his voice calm but strong. He looked around at everyone. Workers, guests, all of them. Then he spoke so everyone could hear. "Good morning. My name is Keanu Reeves. I'm the founder and CEO of Morning Maple. What you're about to see is not a surprise meeting. It's the truth." Eli stepped back. Victor opened his mouth, but Keanu raised his hand. "Victor Lang, Eli Mercer. Come forward." "You know why." Everyone in the diner froze. In the corner, Nina slowly turned around. Victor didn't move. Eli looked scared. He mumbled something and tried to sneak to the back door. One of Keanu's people quietly stepped in front of him. "Don't," he said. No one moved. A mom pulled her child a little closer. People leaned in to hear better. Keanu stepped into the center of the room and took out a folder. "For the past 6 months," he said, "this diner has looked fine on paper. But paper can lie." He held up a sheet of numbers. "We found a system that steals tips." Workers were listed as something called auxiliary, which let the managers move their money away. "That's stealing." Victor tried to speak. "With all due respect." "Respect is earned," Keanu said, not smiling. "Just like tips shouldn't be stolen from the people who earn them." He turned to the workers. "Every one of you listed as an extra server had your money taken without your consent. That money was sent to a fake business made by your manager." Gasps filled the diner. "Eli," Keanu said, "you used the loyalty card system this morning to take a $50 tip meant for Nina. You were never supposed to use that system." "It was just—" Eli started. "You were just following," Keanu interrupted. "Following the wrong person." He looked at Victor. "You built that system. You used it. You lied to protect it." Then he nodded. "Victor Lang and Eli Mercer, you are fired. You no longer work for Morning Maple. Your pay is frozen. Legal action is starting. Security, take them out." Victor looked around, but no one helped him. Even Jordan looked down at the floor. Nina still hadn't moved. Keanu looked at her. "Nina Brooks," he said, his voice kind. "You don't know this, but you saved this place. You stood up when it was scary. You spoke up when it was easier to stay quiet." Tears filled Nina's eyes. "I didn't think anyone would ever hear me," she whispered. "We didn't just hear you," Keanu said. "We believed you." He looked at the workers. "Starting today, every tip will go straight to the person who earned it. A screen will show all tips for everyone to see. And Nina Brooks is now the manager of this diner." The room exploded in claps and cheers. Even the guests joined in. Nina covered her mouth, crying happy tears. She kept looking at Keanu. A few weeks later, Keanu came back. This time, no suits, no team. Just him. The bell above the door rang. Sunlight came in through clean windows. Beside the register was a new sign in a wooden frame. "Integrity begins in silence. Justice begins when someone breaks it." Nina smiled. She wore a neat uniform with a shiny manager's pin. "Your usual table's waiting," she said. He sat down and noticed all the changes. A schedule on the wall, tip totals on a screen, and a team that looked proud, not scared. "How's the new system?" he asked. "Better than we hoped," Nina said. "People trust it. They trust each other. No more fighting for scraps. Now we build something fair." She poured his coffee and added, "My accounting degree starts Monday. My salary and the money from Victor and Eli are paying for it." Keanu smiled. "Sometimes the strongest people aren't the ones in suits." Nina laughed. "And the best bosses wear flannel and fake trucker hats." They shared a quiet moment. As Keanu stood up, he looked at the counter where Victor once stood. It seemed smaller now, less important. What mattered had gone back to the people who truly earned it. As he stepped outside, a couple walked in. "Wasn't that guy in the movies?" the woman asked. "Maybe," said her husband. "But I think he owns this place now." Sometimes the most powerful things don't go viral. They fix what's broken when no one is filming. They bring back trust. They make things fair. They are the quiet victories, the ones that matter most. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next thrilling adventure or mysterious twist. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.